Alright, welcome back to another video. So, it is January 30 today. So it's currently the afternoon. It is a Thursday afternoon. And I'm over here in the heifer barn. So, this afternoon we're going to be feeding bales in the heifer barn and grain. So, yeah, if you're unfamiliar with what's going on here, this is our heifer barn. All of our calves from about 6 months to a year old to calving age are in this barn, along with some dry cows. So they get fed round bales during the winter. This pen over here gets fed round bales of hay because they're the younger calves, the pre-breeding age group. Then over here, this is our breeding pen. Some of these are actually pregnant right now and they can go outside. So quite a few of them are actually pregnant. Some of these big ones here. And then over here, this is our close-up group. These are all the cows due to calve. Or, like last night, we dried off this number 47 here on the end. Then we'll put them in this pen here so that they can kind of get used to being on a bed pack again before we bring them out here to our dry cow area and fire off heifer pen. So, my hope for this afternoon is to feed bales and maybe sort out some heifers. Though there is stuff I could be doing in the shop right now as well. But, that's how it goes. Spent the morning doing homework for college. So now I have some time to be out here. So, I'm going to go ahead and start feeding some round bales. So, this is the tractor we're going to be feeding bales with. It's a 6430 John Deere. I like this tractor because you can pick up 2 round bales with it at once. It's got the bale spear set up for it. So, yeah. Wait for it to glow plug. I didn't plug it in. So I kind of feel a little bit bad about that, but it'll be fine. Now let it warm up, and then we'll get some round bales. So out here is where all our round bales are. So if you're unfamiliar, we got 2 tower silos. One's full of haylage, one's full of corn silage. We got 2 ag bags out there, they're both full of corn silage. And then out here we got all of our wrap bales. We got a tube full of dry hay wrapped, or drier hay. It's around 20%. We got a tube of straw wrapped, and then a couple tubes of baleage. Won't get into detail, but if you've been watching for a while, you know I really like tower silos. I like dry hay as well. We got dry hay in the back of the dry shed. I should mention that. But each of these tubes is around 100 bales long. We used to cut the plastic in between each bale when we were feeding them. I haven't been doing that. I find you can get away with just kind of snapping them off. Over there, that is our heifer barn. you go. That is our 2 bales of baleage. This is 3rd cut. So, yeah, it works best to pick up 2. If you get a little aggressive, you can stack a 3rd one on top, but sometimes you have issues if you do that, so 2 works well. But yeah, these are our round bales of baleage. Unfortunately, they are a little shaggy because of what was happening when we were getting them baled. But when the bales sit here, it does make a nice wind block for everything, although the barns do a pretty good job of that. The west wind will blow on the side of the barns versus through the heifer barn. But that's what we got going on here. So now we got to drive around the back of the barns, through in between the barn and dry shed there to the heifer barn. If we thought about it a little bit better, maybe we could have gotten away with driving through. There's a gate there to the heifer barn through the cow pasture, but we didn't think of that when we wrapped bales, or I didn't at least, so now we have to drive around. But it's not a big deal. So, yeah, in here, there's your bales of dry hay. There's around 40 of them that fit in here. When the barn was full, we're about halfway through it now, or just under. But we got our bales of baleage sitting there now. So yeah, we drive around, drive back through that gate. I'll show you one of the times I'm fetching bales, but over here, this is some 2nd cut dry hay that we're feeding to those young calves. It's really nice stuff. I really like it a lot. If we had more shed space, I'd stack more of it inside, because I'm a big fan of dry hay. But it's what we got and what we're working with. A little better at this with 2 hands than 1, but you can see the net wrap just kind of peels off the outside of the bale. There we go. Always tip the bales on end like that. When they get eaten up, we can drive in and push them to the side easier. Or if they eat half the bale, you can push them over by hand so that they can continue to reach it. bale here got pushed off to the side when we were bedding down the heifer barn last night. It was in the way. I think it just got flipped on end, but it's not a big deal. These bales, there's not a lot of feed in them because they're so saggy, unfortunately, so they're hard to work with, but it's fine. Got our second baleage bale here. Gonna go ahead and cut all the plastic off. So, very similar idea once again to dry bale. Once you got that plastic off the outside, then you just peel the twine off. You can cut the twine off as well, but what I've found is sometimes when they make a bale, you have the auto wrap onto the baler. There'll be layers of net wrap underneath the actual hay, so you can go ahead and cut the net wrap off and there will still be net wrap in the bale. downside to having bales that are so saggy like this. See, they don't always pick up very nice. So when they stay nice and round, you hardly have any problems ever trying to pick them up. But like this, it can become a mess really quick. So, not going to get into detail, but I think maybe by now, by watching, you might have figured out why I like the silos better than wrapped bales or egg bags. We're just not set up nicely for it. If we had our egg bags on gravel, maybe I'd like it better, but still, I also don't really like waiting on people to do custom work. I'm not a big custom work fan. I like to be self-sufficient. That's just kind of my mentality. So, yeah, and when it's wet out, this area here is all very muddy. And then when the ground freezes, it's all very rough. You can kind of see that, all the ruts in the snow here. But we need a lot of gravel to be able to cover everything, or a lot of concrete. And to me, I'd rather not take up all this land someday with gravel or concrete. I'd rather build up again, build another silo, and then you can farm more land or whatever. And then when it's cold out, like today, you don't have to cut and bag plastic. So, yeah. I actually figured out, just for the way we're set up again in our operation, that it is faster to feed TMR in the heifer barn than bales. It'll take me around 2 and a little bit hours to feed 9 bales of baleage, just by driving back and forth. That's what takes the time. Versus when I'd feed them TMR, I could do it in about half an hour, 45 minutes. I would have to do it every day. Versus baleage, we're only doing this 2 or 3 times a week. But then we don't have to feed grain when we feed baleage. But I've talked about it before. Yeah, these bales are so light and mushy, they become incredibly hard to work with. But hopefully with our own round baler now, we will not run into that problem anymore. So, yeah, that's what my hope is. Long term, my goal is to not wrap any more bales. Long term, I'd like to see haylage in both those 2 tower silos, dry hay upstairs in the barn, and then a 3rd tower silo maybe there or somewhere else. Thinking a 20 by 85 would be pretty slick. That'd be about the right size for what we need. And then, yeah, wouldn't have any plastic to deal with or any mud that way. But we'll see what time brings. But that is where I'm at. It's what I'd love to see someday for a feeding system. We'll see if we ever get there or not, but that is my dream setup. Just because at this point in life, I've tried all the different setups by now. I've fed out egg bags, bales, tower silos. Never fed out a bunker silos yet, but I don't know, that's never something that's really appealed to me, just because it takes 3 people to fill a bunker silo. versus the tower silo, you can fill it with 2 people. So that's just the way we're set up. We're gonna put a round bale of straw up here in the barn for the bale cart. We'll see if I can do it with one hand. The other's holding the phone. So there's a little bale cart down there that we are putting the bale on. Hard to see. It always takes just a little bit of messing around to get it to go on. But if you're patient enough, it goes on. It's always harder during the cold weather to deal with bales, I find. But that's how it goes. So I'll just pull it on the cart straight. If it's not on straight, then the bale can still fall off. And there we go. Bale of straw is light enough that you can just kind of get under there and scoot it over. So kind of what makes it a little tricky. Gotten good at it over the years, but it's probably one of the last things I learned to do. The loader tractors, you're up kind of on an angle, trying to put it on the cart, but it works good as long as you can be patient. Well, that's fun. I started to feed one of the last bales in here, and I noticed that this tractor decided it wanted to eat another fan belt. I thought we had that issue fixed. Yeah, ever since we got it, it seems like this tractor goes through one fan belt a year. You can see the bottom down there, it's actually jumped over some teeth. And then this here, these little bits here are the other half of it that has made its way around the fan. Well, I guess what I'll do for now is I'll drop that bale here and I'll grab the other loader tractor. Really sucks. This tractor's got 3,600 hours on it, and it is on its 4th fan belt. We've changed out the idler pulley now. Believe, yeah, it's had a water pump, because at one point we were running into issues there. Believe it's even had an alternator, but I don't quite remember. So we are running out of stuff that has not been changed. So that is no fun. I'll give this one a shot. It's pretty cold out. Well, it started. Just gonna let it warm up now. This tractor has around 12,500 hours on it, but it's actually pretty reliable considering the hour count on it. We've done a lot of work to it, but the motor still isn't touched. The motor's still original. Same with all the gears in the transmission, but we've done 2 clutches on it, or actually it's running its 3rd clutch right now. Done a PTO on it. Just stuff like that. A water pump. That would be about it for motor work. Fuel pump, just stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. Had problems with these 4-wheel drive hubs on it, but other than that, it's been really reliable for us, considering this tractor is almost 40 years old. And there you go. Around 2.5 hours later, fed 9 bales. Not too bad, all things considered. We had a feed truck sew up too. So while I was talking, lost a couple minutes of time. That 6430 running the generator for around 4 hours. That fan belt always seems to blow after we have it. Doing a little bit of PTO work, but still that generator's gonna put too much load on it. It was just sitting there kind of happily working away. So I don't know why it did what it did again, but yeah. Thinking that maybe for this next fan belt, I'll go ahead and buy something aftermarket. That has a bit of a warranty on it. Maybe I'll run to Napa or get one there, but we'll see. Yeah, clearly something's up with maybe the fan belts now. You can read on the internet these tractors do have problems with that, but we have gone through and changed out everything that could be a problem. So now I'm starting to wonder if it's the quality of the fan belts from John Deere maybe aren't holding up like they should. So if we buy something aftermarket that has maybe a 2-year warranty, I'd have to look what kind of warranty Napa parts have. Most of them have a 1-year warranty, and it blows. At least we can quickly bring it in and warranty it, versus, as far as I'm aware, these fan belts from John Deere don't have a warranty, and if they do, then our parts person isn't telling us that. So yeah, but we'll see what we do. Anyway, that is feed and baleage all done. About to feed grain a little bit later there. Alright, we're back over here in the heifer barn now. I got 2 pails of dry cow feed to these dry cows. And then right now we're only running 1 buggy in the heifer barn to feed grain. But these are the pellets to feed the heifers in here. This hay that we're feeding in baleage is actually really rich. It's got a lot of nutrients in it. We did our forage analysis. I don't remember exactly what it all tested. My dad would know that a whole lot better than me. He looks after this kind of stuff. But we're now feeding about half the grain we used to. It's because of how good quality our forages are. This summer, actually, when we were feeding this pen here, haylage and corn silage with mineral. We weren't feeding any grain, so that saved us some money. So when you make good feed, you save money. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this second cut hay turned out and how that third cut baleage turned out. Sometimes you can get baleage on the wetter side and then it's not as nice, but that baleage there is actually pretty dry. I think it's around 40% or so. Versus sometimes if you get it 50% or a little wetter, then it doesn't look as good, even if your baler can take it. But that's just how I've seen it. So that's what we got going on in here. So there you go. That's our heifer barn. You can see Royal over here is eating her close-up dry cow feed. That was one of my old 4-H calves. So yeah, that's about all there is to the heifer barn. Cleaning and bedding, I've sown that a couple times already. Then feeding bales, feeding grain. That's all we got to do over here. It's pretty simple to look after heifers. By the time they get to this barn, it is pretty smooth sailing. They don't really get sick in here, none of that stuff. So we don't run into problems there, fortunately. But yeah, that is what we got going on here. I went home and I got a fan belt ordered. I ordered it off A&L aftermarket, something like that. So I am becoming a huge fan of aftermarket parts, kind of for two reasons. One, they're cheaper, and two, sometimes you can get better quality or better warranty. For this reason, I bought it because it was cheaper. It was around half the cost, maybe a third of the cost. So that was quite a little bit of savings. If you can save 40-50 bucks a day, even 100 days of the year, 200 days of the year, that's quite a hunk of change. So that's what I like doing there. I've even found a couple aftermarket websites where I buy my parts from that you can buy higher quality parts. Those bale chopper knives are a good example. And certain aftermarket parts are cheaper and they're the exact same thing as what the dealer sells. One thing that comes to mind is batteries. If you look, there's only a couple manufacturers for batteries in the world. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 that actually make like car batteries and tractor batteries. All the rest of them, like your John Deere, your Case, all of them, they just buy the batteries and they stick their own sticker on it and mark up the price. So if you're gonna learn one thing today from watching my video, I'd suggest just buy a good battery, like still the same cranking amps and whatnot, but don't buy the brand name. That's one of the things I've kind of learned at college. About all the batteries now are just about all the same. Just buy one with a good warranty, stuff like that, but I wouldn't buy the brand name. That's just my opinion, just because of what I've been educated to know. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.